It's my feel-good breakfast show.
In our series about understanding insurance, courtesy of Standard Insurance Limited, we chat more to Charmaine Scott, the head of Standard Bank Insurance Brokers, about purchasing all-important insurance. We know we have to cover ourselves, but how much consideration do we really afford this important task of getting the best cover to protect our next? How much do you know? I don't know nearly enough. So we're going to dive right in. Good morning, Charmaine. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, I have to keep reiterating for myself because it's so easy to miss something in this important. You want to get a good deal, so you see a good deal, but you might miss something that could be vital in the long term. What should we be taking into consideration when comparing insurance quotes? Is it just price?
No, it's definitely not just price. And I think that's where a lot of people make the mistake. So price is important, obviously, because that's what we need to be able to afford what we're buying. But it's so critical that you also look at the features and benefits of the product you're buying and make sure you understand the exclusions. So that's what's not covered, because we assume everything's covered. Everything's not necessarily covered. And then make sure you know what the excess is that you're going to have to pay. So often, if the excess is very high, the premium's going to look great because you, as a consumer, are actually going to be paying a higher amount when there's a claim.
How much cover do you actually have? And I think it's worth also doing a bit of a self-audit of your lifestyle, of what you really need. Things like, I know in the past you've spoken about insurance or cars related, like rentals, those sorts of things. For me, that's the most important thing. I have to stay mobile, so I don't mind paying a little bit more if I know that I'm covered in that instance. It seems like there are so many ways, platforms, opportunities to be able to get a good deal, sometimes a little bewildering in that space. Where can we go to buy our insurance?
Okay, so the most traditional way of buying insurance has always been a broker, because when you go to the broker, they can actually do the shopping around for you. They can go and get the quotes, they can compare the excesses, they can present something to you so that when you buy the product, you're actually making a very informed decision. But times have changed, and people are now buying insurance online. Many insurance companies have got direct offerings, and people also like to buy insurance over the telephone because it's so much more quick and convenient than having to have a face-to-face interaction with somebody.
Maybe I'm old school, I'm an old soul. I like to have that person-to-person contact. Maybe I need to be babied through these things just a little bit. But there is something about having someone to guide you through this process so that you don't miss out anything if you're doing it in a hurry, just looking for the best deal, or someone who can actually read you in an informed way. From your perspective, in your experience, why do you motivate someone? And you've been very clear that you don't have to go through a broker, but from your experience, why is it important? What are some of the real pluses for using a broker in this instance?
Okay, so if you're not going to use a broker, the unfortunate thing is you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So you're going to go and shop online, and you're not necessarily going to know what to look out for, what the pitfalls are. But it can be done, and I think the more familiar you become with insurance, the more confidence you'll have to do your own shopping around. But I think the broker can give that stability to you. They can also make sure that you understand critical features of the product. As an example, that you understand that in the product you take, you might need to have your alarm switched on when you're not at home. Whereas if you buy it yourself, you might not read that clause, and then you might not realize that that's a condition of your policy. So I think the broker definitely has a role to play, and especially where people want to make sure that all their needs have been met.
I think one thing about having that interpersonal connection is you can't go back and rewrite the law in a policy. What are some of the things that people maybe that you can't do, that people assume they can just phone the broker and say, listen, this has gone wrong, I need you to go back in time and sort it out? What are some of the things people need to be aware of, just in a general sense, when buying insurance, that you as a broker, with all of your powers, can't actually go back and fix?
Such a good question. I think something we come across a lot is when there's been a material defect in the structure of the building. Because if the building then collapses, but the builder didn't adhere to building conditions, the insurance company won't pay, because they will be able to show that it's not because of a natural peril, like a fire, lightning or explosion, a storm, weather. It is actually because of a defect in the building construction. And that's probably the most difficult to explain to a customer, because it's in that moment of truth that they're expecting the claim to be paid.
So, Charmaine, thank you so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate and respect what you do in this process. So really, getting the correct short-term insurance cover is less daunting than it might seem. You've got people who can help you through that process, and we can enlist the team on hand to offer you all the guidance you need. Remember, South Africa, shop smart to protect your next.
Protect your next with Standard Insurance Limited. Get up to 20% cash back on your premiums. SMS Expresso to 31492 for a quote.